remakes, remakes, remakes. What's good, my fellow peasants? How are you all doing? So all of 2017 and late 2016 has been filled with a lot of Square Enix staff members being asked about remakes, and it's always been very exciting to me to hear that it's pretty much on the table. At this point, I've seen so much said about in interviews that they plan to do another one that I'm 99.9% certain it will happen. I will bet my damn mortgage on it. And making news this week on the remake front is this chap here, Takashi Katano. Now this guy never really gets much coverage, but he's been a Square Enix programmer working on Final Fantasy titles since 1999. He was there on 8, then he was the main programmer on 10, but his most notable work was most probably FF12 and the FF12 Zodiac job system. Then he did some work as a program supervisor on Tactics. He then worked as a Crystal Tools development staff member on FF13 and the main programmer again on the 10 and 10.2 remaster. Now the reason Takashi has made the frontline news this week is because in an interview with IB Times he was asked about other PS1 era remakes, to which he responded more or less that it's up to the fans. His exact quote was, "We really have to hear the voices on that. If they want to see a remake or a remaster of a certain game, then that's more than likely to be the one we go for. I've personally been working at Square Enix for 20 years now, and I've got a lot of memories from that time. I think the way that we look at it is it's not the game that we would like to remake, it's really down to what the players / the fans want to see." Whew. So that's exciting news, and this kind of came around. He was there to talk about FF12, and he was saying how PS2 and above era titles, they're quite easy to do remasters, which I think we know, but he was saying anything before the PS2 era is going to be really difficult to do a modern remaster to a suitable level of quality. That means it's far more likely they will do a remake. So he's saying it's down to us fans. And that's really interesting. I've not heard that before, and I don't know if this is just what Takashi is saying, or if this is actually something that Square Enix are thinking of doing. Listening to our voices and basing what remake they decide to do next on what we want. Because even back as early as February the 1st this year, my boy Katase, in an interview with Gamatsu, he said, quote, "Right now we're working on Final Fantasy VII Remake, but the staff within the company are also saying that they want a remake of FF6, but it continues to be put off." So when I heard that, that really made me think that they'd spoken about an FF6 remake in a fairly serious context, and that it was more or less 6 that was going to be the one to get remade. Because whenever we talk about remakes, what are the ones that are often competed about? It's FF6, FF8, and FF9, let's be real guys. But now it seems like anything's possible. It could be either 3 of them. I mean, even there is some other ones. Tabata did say that he personally wanted to an FF1 remake. A throwback to the original that was basically going on the premise of what if Final Fantasy was just getting started today? The franchise and the first game was just being made today. What would it look like? So that's what Tabata wanted. Personally, I've always said I would like an FF8 remake out of all of them. There was some dope artwork that came out from Scott Honeycutt, a 3D environmental artist, and this was more or less Balam Garden with a bit of a spruce up. And it looks so good. Oh, I want it. I want it, but I've always said, despite me wanting FF8 remake, I feel like FF6 deserves it. From what I've personally heard and seen, I think FF6 remake is more wanted. It's the classic masterpiece Final Fantasy game. It's also the Final Fantasy game that gets the highest rated score out of all of them on average. So I think 6 deserves it the most, but I'm also very much aware that there's been a real creeping trend of people wanting the FF9 remake. They've already kickstarted their Facebook groups, this one here. There's also remake groups for 6. I don't know if there's any for 8, I'll have a look. But long story short guys, it's time for you to get on Facebook and join your respective 6, 8 or 9 groups, because if what Takashi is saying is true, being vocal and showing your support for which title you want to be remade most, it could really get noticed by Square Enix. Oh, we're living in exciting times. I often think that the whole reason we even have the 7 remake, it is because of the remake groups that were formed, the remake petition. So I do think Square Enix are listening. But there it is guys, it's gonna happen. 100% it's gonna happen. I feel it in my fingers, I feel it in my toes, and in light of this video, let's see. I've got a poll going in the top right corner. Go up there, click, and I will have FF1, FF4, 6, 8, and 9 up there. Vote between those 5 because I kind of feel like they're the more common ones. Poor FF5 ain't getting no traction on the remake love front. So go up, vote guys, and let's just see what Final Fantasy will come out on top. I'm also going to host it over on Facebook, so if you haven't gone over there, Final Fantasy Peasants, I'm going to try to get as many numbers as possible. But there it is, until the next video. Kupo!